Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Saddle. My name's Liam, and today we've got professional jockey Jason Watson. Jason, thank you very much for your time today. How are you?
I'm good, Liam. Thanks for having me on the show. Been a meaning to get on here for a while, so it's finally great to be on here.
No, yeah, it's a little bit to have you. Obviously, we'll talk loads today about where you come from and obviously where you are now. So let's just take it back, Jason. So obviously, let's just take it all back. Where did the journey start for you when you wanted to get into racing? Obviously, you're from Brighton. Is that where you're originally from?
Yeah, from Brighton originally. My parents, when I was about 6 years old, were just sort of happy hackers, learned to ride horses just for a bit of something to do on a weekend. And they fell in love with it. And yeah, when I was six, me and my sister went down. Had a go ourselves and sort of fell in love with just riding horses back then. Really, I had other interests, but it was soon everything else was sort of put on the back burner really, and horses became everything for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Was it a moment growing up? You knew you really wanted to be a jockey?
Probably when I was about nine, as young as that. The guy that was teaching me to ride was an ex-jump jockey back in the day called Ray Goldstein, and yeah, he actually said to my parents back then, he could be a jockey one day, and obviously at that age, my parents wasn't too sure really what he meant by that, and I had other interests, like I said, but nothing that really grabbed me like riding a horse did. So I just thought from that age in that that's what I wanted to do, and I'm quite stubborn-minded, so I never really changed my path really.
Yeah, so was your parents quite supportive of that, or have you come from like a horsey background? Have they been involved in horses? Uh,
My parents aren't involved, never have been in the
Oh,
racing
right,
industry.
okay.
Got no family
Oh,
to
right,
do with
okay.
the sport, so I was the first one to sort of break mold really. My mother wasn't necessarily overly pleased to start off with,
Yeah, yeah.
but as time went on and I got older and got more interested in starting getting into some racing yards on a weekend and school holidays, she had no choice really but to be supportive of me, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So what was the first time? So did you go to like riding schools where close to yourself, or did you go, obviously, in the UK, we have the British Racing School, we have the National Horse Racing College. Was that where how did you get into it at first?
Um, so going on sort of learning to ride, I was in Gary Moore's racing yard. I went to Susie Smith's a bit in Lewis and Jerry Enright, who trained at the time in Lewis. And when I got to the right age, actually just before my 16th birthday, I went to Andrew Balding's yard to, see if that's where I was going to want to be going to when I got uh, done all my sort of work at the racing college. And as soon as I left Andrews, I ended up going to the British School of Racing in Newmarket on I think it was a 6 week course, 4 week course, something like that.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
remember. And then yeah, that was just to sort of do the basics really of actually just working
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a racing yard. And it wasn't till I had gone to America to work for a trainer just before, just sort of when I was turning 16. I did 6 weeks work experience in Fair Hill for a trainer called Trez Abbott. Unfortunately, he doesn't train anymore, but at the time it was a brilliant experience. And when I came back, I went on my apprentice license course.
All right, amazing. So obviously, what was them experiences like in going to obviously different yards and stuff like that? Obviously, different trainers have different setups. What was
Yeah.
that like? Obviously growing up for you. What was the experience like for you?
Jerry Enright's the first sort of yard, the first trainer that I worked for. He only had, I think, about 12 horses at the time, and I was, under the age of 16. I was,
Yeah, yeah,
still in school, and yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily um, a legal thing to do, but I was riding
yeah,
riding horses out, and he didn't have many winners at the time. He sort of was coming to the end of his career. Um, it wasn't until I really got to Gary Moore's that I realised how hard work it is.
Yeah,
He's
definitely.
renowned for being hard working trainer, and the whole family, the whole Moore family, are just hard working people, and they expect the same amount of effort to be put in as what they're doing. And I didn't really shy away from that. In fact, I kind of embraced it, and I enjoyed that. A bit of meaning and a bit of put a bit of perspective on what it's going to take.
Yeah, no, definitely. As I say, what was your feeling like when you first like went to a racetrack or went on the gallops? What was that feeling like for you?
Uh, Nervous to start off with, getting on the gallops. Really, I'd only ridden sort of ex thoroughbreds and ponies and whatever before, so that
Yeah,
speed was different. The sort of animal you're sitting on is a lot different. Soon got used to it, and I was sort of nervous to start off with, and then by the end of the gallop, absolutely loved it and buzzing about it, and I definitely felt as though it was something that I wanted to do, and um, it just gave me more of the bug really. And then when I first got on a race course and had my first ride back in 2017, I think it was now, and again a lot of nerves really. It's very different riding in the gear you'd put on a horse, and the equipment you'd wear riding out horses in the morning to what you'd do wearing in the evenings or afternoons racing. So that sort of felt a bit, you almost feel a bit naked really.
yeah, yeah.
And that took a bit of getting used to, and that was sort of playing on my mind a little bit, going down to the start of the race, and then before I knew it, the race had been and gone. And in the end, you just sort of learn to relax, and it becomes the norm for you. And yeah, it's just that buzz of a feeling you get.
No, definitely. I'd say we recently just attended the National Horse Racing College, and obviously we went on the gallops, and obviously seeing the students. Obviously they were in week six. Obviously they've had a bit of experience, a little bit of experience so far, but obviously you can see how much confidence that it brings to them. Obviously when they've just recently been on the gallops, and obviously probably from week one to getting obviously involved in racing, and obviously from week 12, you gain a lot of confidence. And obviously then the next step is going to a racing yard.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great insight into the sport. The racing schools and colleges that are set up, it's a very sort of basic stuff really, but it's like you say, it gets people's confidence up, and I think you do make a decision as to whether you really want to keep pursuing it or not. But then when you finally get into a racing yard, it's a whole sort of different level to what
Yeah.
you've been doing at the college, and yeah. But we Andrew Balding's place. There's a lot of people that come from the racing school and do really well, and you can see when they come from the college and they spend a season or so here, how much they improve and how much more confidence
Yeah.
they gain. So
No, definitely. And we need more people to get involved, obviously get involved into racing as much as we can, don't we? And we need more
yeah,
jockeys
exactly.
and more yard staff and more people to get involved, because there's so many careers in racing. There's not just being a jockey like yourself. There's so much more that people can do in racing, can't they?
Yeah, there's plenty to offer. My girlfriend at the minute, she's in Australia. She went out for the Melbourne Cup. She took a horse.
Amazing.
So and that's a great experience to be able to travel the
No,
world.
definitely. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's also the horse that she took, actually she rides out every day at home and looks after every day. So there's that bond there that you get, and that's just I think such a nice feeling to have. And again, it's just sort of that responsibility that you have can be something that really you thrive on.
No, yeah, definitely, 100%. So who would you say someone you had an inspiration when you were growing up, or would you just say you dedicated, you just wanted to get involved into it?
Yeah, I suppose sort of when I started really watching racing a bit more intently, Ryan Moore was, because I knew the Moore family very well,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Ryan always stood out. Um, Very determined, driven. He is one of the best out there. Frankie Dettori, of course, because he was
Yeah.
just everywhere when you turn on the telly. So, but other than that, it was sort of I was very green, very raw to and very naive to sort of what I was going into. So it was just sort of the
Yeah.
mindset that I had that it was something I wanted to do, and I sort of gave myself no other option but to go into, head first into it and see what happened really.
No, I say, as you mentioned, obviously Ryan there, obviously now his son's obviously he's had a couple of rides now. He's obviously had his first winner not so long
Yeah,
ago. Do you know what I mean? So obviously it just shows you how dedicated obviously the whole family is, as you say.
yeah, that's right. Toby's just not long been riding on the track, and it's great that he's had a winner already on the board. It's tough for anyone to start up, and I think people would think that it's probably slightly easier for him, being that he's the son of Ryan Moore, but there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, because
Yeah,
people will
definitely.
start, will be expecting a lot from him, but if he's got anything like the mindset that his dad has, he should just take it all on the chin, and we wish him best.
No, definitely. As you can say, obviously Ryan. I think Ryan, he obviously he's a little bit camera shy. Doesn't really give much away, does he? But obviously, I feel like when obviously Toby done his post up race when he won that race, obviously he's still like a different little personality in him.
Yeah, that's right. He sort of got that attitude a bit that is that sort of demeanor that his dad does have, but obviously he's still he's very very young, and Ryan actually was an amateur before he got his apprentice license out, whereas as Toby's gone straight in as an apprentice, and um, there is no buzz like it. So when you get that first win on the board, I think it's just that it does make you feel good, and you do show that emotion, and yeah, look, hopefully things go well for him.
No, definitely. So let's just take it obviously day to day for you. So what's it like for you when you wake up in the mornings? Obviously, when you go home at night. What's a day in the life of yourself?
So it would be getting up sort of about 6:15, sometimes a little bit earlier, depending on if I have weight to lose that day. And I'd exercise the horses, and it means either going to Andrew Balding's, Charlie Hills, Ollie Sanks, so whoever I've scheduled in for that morning going in and riding out. Tends to be sort of 4 or 5 days a week in the heat of the season I'll be riding out. And then after that, get back home, have a shower, get changed, potentially have something to eat, and get on the road again to go to a meeting. And yeah, you get there, do your rides, and back home again, try and get a good night's sleep, and it starts all again, the following day. That sort of sounds a bit boring there, but it actually, like it is just a bit of a Ferris wheel, it just keeps going, and
No, exactly, yeah. And as you say,
yeah.
it comes back to being dedicated, doesn't it? Obviously you got to bring in the time of going to the yard early and coming home late. Obviously, that's your schedule, and that's what you want to pursue, isn't it, as a career? And obviously, how much does it affect like the nutrition and obviously the traveling? Obviously, you must travel around a lot and stuff as well.
Yeah, look, it's the travel and diet is unfortunately there's sort of two things that don't really mix.
Yeah.
It can become quite difficult. You know, we're technically doing the same or just under the amount of you think like sort of lorry drivers, and you know they have a different physique, I say, to most jockeys. So it just shows you, I think, like it can create bad habits, and it can be difficult, and sort of without the saunas around now, it means sort of you're going longer periods of time dehydrated and without something to eat. Um, but that's the grueling part of the job, I think, or a couple of the grueling parts of it. But again, it's just you're waiting to have a good day and a big winner, and it sort of puts the world to right again, and you forget all about those sort of tougher times through the weeks, and it spurs you on even more, really.
No, definitely. I'm talking about the big winners. Obviously, you had a big winner come not so long ago in Ascot. How was that? Was that one of your biggest moments in your career so far?
Yeah, definitely, it would be in terms of sort of the caliber of race, and the day that it being on Champions Day, it meant a lot, and it had been 6 years, I think, since I last had a Group One winner. And obviously that's what you're aiming for. It's certainly what I'm aiming for. Not just sort of number of winners, but the profile of the winner that you have. And yeah, it meant a lot. You know, it's been a season of sort of being more freelance rather than having a direct connection to a yard, and that entails a lot more sort of effort and work to go into the game, and yeah, it means a lot, and it meant a lot for the stable that I rode for, Charlie Hills and his family and the owners. So yeah, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
No, I would say I could see like the emotion after the race. You were very emotional, wasn't you?
Yeah, it's that's what this sport does to you. You know,
Yeah.
it is an emotional sport, and you see a lot of things in the industry that are tough, and people aren't dealing so well, and you go through that yourself, and it can be quite a lonely place. So yeah, it was sort of that build up of years of trying to get back to that level, and then it finally working out. Um, just all came out really.
Yeah, I'd say obviously the industry has obviously probably for yourself as well has a lot of highs and lows. I would say I think mental health is a big issue in it, obviously in the industry. Do you think that's something that needs to be addressed?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's certainly not as an industry for the light-hearted, and I think jockeys and trainers alike are under a hell of a lot of pressure, um, and especially sort of younger jockeys coming into the sport. Um, there can be quite a lot of expectation on. I think it's one of them where you just have to be obviously dedicated and um, have that real want to achieve, but you got to have your good, enjoy your time off and you know create that social network that can support you plenty, and people that you trust to speak to and that you care about their opinions. It's great to have that sort of relationship with someone or group of people, but I think sometimes you just got to not take it too seriously because there's a lot more lows than there is highs. And that's for me the only way to sort of deal with it is just enjoy the moments and you know get your head back down and work again, but just make sure you're looking after your being first, you know.
No, yeah, definitely, 100% agree. So obviously you've had if I'm not mistaken, you've had 76 winners so far this season.
Yeah.
Do you set yourself a target going every season, or is it where you want to be, where you are
uh
now?
yeah, look, I wanted to get to 100. It's been a while since I've had 100 winners in the season in a year, so that's always the target, always is every year to get to that. Sort of set the bar quite high, and um, as my agent always says, you set the bar to a point, and then as soon as you get there, you want to keep on pushing the bar
Yeah.
up, and that's just the way I am. So it hasn't been a bad year. The last sort of few weeks, obviously, bar the big winner, been a bit slow. Can just be the time of year. Things are starting to slow down. Horses are
Yeah, yeah.
reaching the end of their tail. So like it's yeah, it's not been a bad year, but you're always looking for improvement at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, 100%. So let's get to learn a little bit about yourself off the track. Obviously, if you wasn't a jockey, what would you think you'd be doing if obviously if it didn't materialize into being a jockey? What do you think you would be doing in life now?
Well, I was no good in school. I wasn't. I was terrible at schoolwork. Didn't like it at all. Hated school really. Probably it'd be a practical job, whether it be try and be a builder or a plumber, electrician, landscaper, gardener, something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like to keep active, and I'd be no good sat behind a computer all day. So
yeah,
I'd find something that I enjoy, but I quite enjoy gardening on my time off. Actually, it's sort of a bit sad, but it sounds like an old man thing to enjoy. But it's my way of relaxation and a bit of satisfaction from it. So yeah, I'd probably try and make a job out of that.
yeah. That's just what I was going to say. What are you doing when you're not on the saddle? Obviously, when you got days off like today, is that what
Yeah,
obviously you can't really do much gardening with the weather like this today. Like, but obviously, do you have any
yeah,
interests, hobbies and stuff?
yeah. I like fishing as well. I really like enjoying my fishing. I don't get to go as often as I'd like. Again, it's sort of just I think it's that polar opposite to a very hectic sort of life and career. And then when you have your off days, you want to just do the complete opposite and sort of zen out of things. So fishing I enjoy. Uh, Trying to get into golf, not particularly good at it at all. So need a bit more work on that. I enjoy watching the Formula One, um, and I haven't actually gone to a track yet. So I'm sort of looking to do that in the next couple of years when I can. I actually, there's a lot. I did go in Bahrain when I was there for a winter, um, and that was brilliant. But I would like to get to sort of Silverstone and um, have a look at the track there. But yeah, I mean that's sort of me. I enjoy spending time with my partner and family, and that's sort of what I like to do with my off time, really.
You a football fan?
I support Brighton because obviously I'm
Oh,
from
really?
there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't keep in touch with it as much as sort of other people do, but I did actually go to my first game, first home game at Brighton last weekend for the first time in about 15 years, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
played Leeds and won, so that was brilliant. And I've got a few mates that play for Brighton, and it was it was great. So I definitely look forward to going and watching another game soon. And we've got Palace this weekend, which are obviously
Yeah, yeah.
pretty big rivals of ours. So we're looking to get a win, and we're all sort of quite tight in the table now. So yeah,
No,
we'll
definitely.
see
Yeah,
how we
no,
get
they're not
on.
a bad team. I just I'm a Liverpool fan. Obviously, you can tell I'm from Liverpool, but I
Yeah,
went the match against Real Madrid. There's unbelievable atmosphere. But no, obviously, apart from me, the race when not doing the racing, obviously I have a full-time job as well. I work in the NHS as well, so obviously I try and I'm a big football fan, and obviously it's just but obviously to have that work balance, and as you say, obviously your wife's obviously not is it your wife or your girlfriend?
girlfriend not
Uh,
there yet.
uh, not popping the question anytime soon, Jason. No,
Still,
but
well, yeah,
obviously,
I say.
obviously, you use quite supportive of each other. Obviously, you're both involved in racing. Do you have time to obviously have time together and stuff?
Yeah, look, we do. It's as much stress on your partner, I think, as it is yourself. I mean, we don't have kids or anything, so I can imagine that adds more pressure. But yeah, she's very good. She's very understanding of what I do, and I sort of she knows that work is my true love and passion, and sort of that always comes first, really. But we have a sort of rule where we don't really talk about it too much. We don't talk
All
about
right.
work in our own time. You know, if I've had a bad day or vice versa, we'll talk about it for a bit.
Yeah.
Just sort of, I'm one of these people that I like to get things off my chest. I can't sort of bundle it up. And but it doesn't last long. We don't. I don't want to talk about work once I've come home. It's
No.
sort
Yeah.
of
Definitely.
that's my downtime, and I think that works. It works for me anyway.
No. Yeah. Definitely. That's no. I say you've got to have that. But I'd say once again that balance, haven't you? And obviously, I can imagine with you both being involved in racing as well. Obviously, you just don't want it to take over a little bit, as you say.
Yeah, that's it. It's already a massive part of both our lives, and it does become your life. And like I said, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Sometimes it can be a proper tough industry, and sometimes it's just nice to step away from that and be a normal human
Yeah.
being for a while.
All right, that's great. So we'll ask you a little quick fire questions, if that's okay, Jason. So
Yeah,
what's your favorite race course to ride at? Would you say?
I say Ascot.
Ascot, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Obviously,
Um,
Champions Day was just not so long ago. Is that one of your favorite meetings?
Yeah, yeah. Champions Day. I like Goodwood, the Goodwood Festival. It's a hard place to ride winners, and I think this is my first year in the last 4 years that I didn't have a winner there. But and it's a tricky track and very competitive racing. But great crowd, great bunch of people that turn up, and it's just it's got a touch of elegance about it, which is great.
What would you say your favorite winner is so far, or your favorite racehorse that you've ridden in your career so far? Have you got a certain one? Have you got a bond with a certain horse?
Um, I mean, they all play their part. I mean, I'm going to say Sisters Kiss after obviously being the most
Yeah, yeah,
recent one, but there's been loads. Lord Glitters I rode in Bahrain. He's such an old warrior of a horse. He'd been and done it all, and he meant a lot to me winning over there. To just get a riding a horse like him was brilliant. And to get the job done as well was amazing. But it's not always the caliber of horses that you enjoy riding. I've got my own at home, down at my parents' place, actually, an ex racehorse. I lost my claim on, and I
all
won
right.
4 races on him, and he retired, and I took him on as a bit of a pet, and that's he means a lot to me. So yeah, it's the good horses make you love them, and some of them you just
Yeah.
can't help loving.
What's it like riding abroad? Is it obviously different to out in the UK? Is it?
Yeah, it is. Depending, the sort of Middle East is a lot different. Even the likes of Dubai, Qatar, and Bahrain, they all have their own styles. Australia is a very strict place to ride, and they race very very tight over there. So that's has its challenges. Hong Kong, I rode in before, and again, sort of very tight racing, and the atmospheres, especially in the likes of Australia and Hong Kong, racing such a massive deal. It's like nothing else you've ever seen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy doing my abroad trips.
No, as I say, and hopefully one day I'll get over there myself. I do want to experience the whole, obviously, you know what I mean, everywhere around the country or around the world and racing as well, because I feel like it'll be such a unique experience. Obviously, what's one race you'd love to win going forward in your career or hope to win?
Oh, there's a good list of them, but I think for in the UK, it'd have to be the Derby or one of the classics at least. But I think the Derby is such a big deal, obviously, um, and yeah, that would mean a lot. But there's, like I said, there's a long list of sort of international races abroad. I'd love to win as well.
No, definitely. Who would you say your best friend is in racing? Or have we got a
Um,
few?
we've got a few enemies, but we've got a few friends as well.
Yeah.
Dave Probert, actually, he's actually gone to Hong Kong now, but
Yeah.
very close to him. Dan Musket, again, I'm very, very well with Hector Crouch and Eddie Greatex, Rob Hornby, O'Sheen, James Doyle. There's a good few of us. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's a very sort of brotherly love in there, and it makes the day sometimes more enjoyable and,
yeah.
and a good laugh.
What's the atmosphere like at the jockey room?
It's I think it's pretty relaxed, to be honest. Even on sort of the bigger days, obviously it's a little bit intense, but
Yeah,
you know we try and keep things, I think, quite relaxed and clear minds, and it's good to just, like I say, there's plenty of banter that goes on in there.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, overall it's normally pretty good.
That's another thing I was gonna ask you. Do you have any pre-race rituals or anything like that before you go out for a race, or is there anything you do? Or
Uh, Not really. I mean, just studying form really, and
yeah,
maybe watching races back on my own horse. But in terms of rituals, there isn't really. I have a ring on my finger that I always wear. My granddad passed away when I was quite young, and on my 16th birthday, he had told my mother to um, give this like jewelry box to me, and then there was this
oh,
ring, and it was from him. So I always have that on. But yeah, other than that, try and just keep it relaxed and do my job as best I can.
yeah, no, definitely. That's I'd say that's amazing for what your granddad gives you when you're young, and obviously it's always going to be sentimental to yourself, isn't it? What would you say your go-to cheat meal is when you want some food?
Oh,
Obviously
cheap meal.
you've got to be good. You got to be good most of the time, but got to have that
Yeah,
cheat meal now and then, haven't you?
cheap meal. I do like Chinese. I do like takeaway Chinese.
What's your Chinese order?
Sweet chili prawn, Hong Kong prawn style, and with some egg fried rice, chicken
Oh yeah,
balls. spring rolls. Yeah, I regret
A
it
lot, yeah.
afterwards, but it feels good going through it.
Yeah, it feels good at the time when you're having it, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you got, do you have like a favourite movie or TV show?
Favorite movie. I'm into my films. I do like, it's another thing I like to do on my off days.
Yeah.
Put on a good film. Marley and Me. Like it's a bit sad and a bit sort of
Yeah.
morbid, but it's big fan of Jennifer Anderson, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that would be the ideal life, wouldn't it? Really. So
Oh, it would, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, that's and Peaky Blinders as a series when it was on is brilliant. Absolutely love Tom Hardy and Kieran Murphy. So yeah, brilliant, brilliant.
And one last question. What's one racehorse we should all look out for in the future or the next coming year or so?
Five ways, five ways
Five
definitely.
ways.
He's had a good 2 year career. I think he's definitely got the ability to be very talented. He can have his own mindset and way of doing things. Doesn't make my life too easy or whoever's riding him. But yeah, I think he ended the year pretty good, and hopefully winters well, and next year see a much more improved type.
No, yeah, definitely will look out for them. So one last question, Jason. Can you give me one bit of advice you can give to people who are watching, who want to get involved in racing? Is there any particular advice you'd give to people who want to get involved going forward?
Yeah, look, it would be sort of however you think it's going to be. Um, I always feel like if you look at something and imagine how it's going to be, try and think of sort of how bad it could be, and then you'll deal with it better when you get into the role. And just try and enjoy it. Just try and enjoy it. Learn as much as you can. Always take on board what people in the industry are telling you, especially people that have been around a long time involved in the sport. Always take on board what they're saying and just try and keep learning.
No, definitely. That's fantastic advice. And well, that's the end of our interview today, Jason. It's been amazing doing this for you today. Obviously, it's been a long time coming. As you said, we've been trying to organise it on me for a while. But as you say, from behind the saddle and myself, I wish you the best of luck in the future going forward.
No, great to be on the show, Liam. Thanks very much.